my bank. We are EBRD. We operate in 34 countries. We pretty much do project financing into banks, industries, both new, old, venture capital. We invest 9 billion every year, and we're the largest investor into our region currently. And now we have a 100 million euro venture fund. It's active. We've deployed it in Turkey and we've deployed it in Russia, and we're ready to deploy it more. So please look at our website. This is separate from the EBRD website. Where we operate, so if your country is one of the countries here highlighted in green, we are interested in talking to you. So who am I? What's that?
Go back.
So it's everything east of the Czech Republic, and then now it's Egypt, Jordan, Tunisia, and Morocco, and Turkey, Russia, Mongolia, etc. All right. So who am I? Am I the world's foremost expert in investment pitches? Definitely not. But I see about 600 pitches every year, and it's the same mistakes, just happening all the time. So I thought it'd be nice to sort of highlight them and help the entrepreneurs. So of course you can take it with a grain of salt, and it may be all wrong. So anyway, you have one single goal when you send the presentation. It's standing out from the crowd. It's not to get investment at that first point. Nobody's going to give you money in that first meeting over email, but it's to get to that first meeting. So how are you going to do that? Well, 3 pillars of a good teaser is you have to have good structure. We'll get to that. You have to know who you're talking to. So there's more examples coming up about, you're sending to me, you need to know who I am. If you're sending it to Emre, you need to know who he is, etc. And finally, succinctness. It deserves its own slide. To me, if you can't explain your business in 10 slides, you probably don't get its, investment value yourself. You don't get its value proposition yourself. So that's probably the most important slide in this presentation. So suggested structure. So I would, these are the basic pillars. So who are you? What do you do? What's your market? And what have you achieved so far? And finally, what do you want from me? I am going to actually say what you want from me and how your business relates to me is the most important point in an investment presentation. Because who you are, what your company does, and what your market is, and what you've achieved so far is really not relevant to me unless I know what you want. And there is a saying in the US, it's called the ask. People say get to the ask, and I would say get to the ask ASAP. So going on to the structure here, on what do you want, you can say I'm looking for advice, you can say I'm looking for networking opportunities, and finally you can say I'm looking for an investment. I will retort to that. I will say, what are you looking for advice on? With whom do you want me to introduce you to? And what are you looking for investment for? Like, what are you going to do with it? So I'm going to get rid of all those, and along the lines of audience analysis, do your research, and tell me, I'm looking for advice on how to expand my e-commerce business in Turkey because I've seen that you invested in it. Now, this immediately forms a relationship with me. If you say, I'm looking for networking opportunities in Russia because, you invested $4 billion there last year, again, I know how I can help. And finally, I'm looking for an investment of $1 million, and that, I am sending this to you because I see that you invest in similar businesses, and we'll use the proceeds, the money, to hire top talent. We'll hire a CEO, CFO, etc. So this is more of along the lines of what we want to do. So another quiz structure here. What happens to investors? What happens to pitches with no ask? Will I call you and ask you what you wanted? Probably not. Will we invite you to Silicon Valley? No. Nothing's going to happen. So that's probably the most important part of an investment pitch. So who are you? This is the team. So we don't need to see CVs there. We don't need to see lengthy biographies. And we don't need to have the team sugar-coated. So if you're missing the CFO, if your development team is working 24 hours a day, you need to line up to load, tell us. That's okay, because this is the kind of business we're looking for. Who's in the team? What are their roles? What parts of their past relate to the current role? So I don't need to know about their summer internships. I need to know about what parts of their previous jobs relate to what they're doing right now, and why are they the best person? we need people to be down to earth. We hear this a lot. So I'm an online guru and I invented the internet. Probably not going to happen. So remember that people, if they're interested, they will Google you. So again, another question and answer. What happens to pitches with 10-page biographies and boasts? We will read all 10 pages and think for hours about what parts are actually relevant. No, probably not. We'll be very impressed that you invented the internet and we'll send you a check. No. None of the above is going to happen. So this is another thing to keep in mind. So what does your company do? Please tailor to your audience. So I know nothing about biomedical engineering. I know nothing about medicine. So if you're a biomed firm, you can send an investment pitch to me. But if you write this, I'll write you, if you write this is going to happen. So please, great company descriptions. To me, they do three things. People here may disagree. But what problem are you solving? Who's being kept awake at night by this problem? And how are you different from your competitor? So the previous slide, we heard somebody talk about their company in technical terms that I didn't understand. Now, if you look at this, it says, this company produces fluoroquinolones, which play an important role in the treatment of serious bacterial infections. Check. Doctors have difficulty treating diseases like pneumonia with current, so due to cause side effects. Check. And the last sentence here, it says basically that compared to the incumbents in the market, you're faster, you're cheaper, you have no side effects. Check. So that's all I need. Finally, what happens to pitches that can't explain what the company does? We see I will hire industry experts to read the material and explain to me what the company does. Probably not. I will be, since I don't understand it, I will think that it's very high tech and I will decide to invest. Probably not. Finally, none of the above happens. So, what's your market? This is very important. We need to see a market. It can be Turkey, it can be MENA, it can be the entire, it can be realistic, but you can say, we're targeting the entire world at some point. But if you say this, it's the entire world, it's 6 billion men, women, and children, probably I won't buy it. But if you phase it, if you say, right now we're targeting Turkey and it's 10 million online shoppers. Later we're going to think about, expand to neighboring countries with 100 million online shoppers. Now that's great. But if you go further and if you talk in dollars, not just people, it's better. So if you're targeting Turkey, 10 million online shoppers, they spend $500 million a year. So that's my initial market. And then, we'll grow to MENA, whatever, and the people there spend $2 billion, and back that with data, Forrester says that, and we'll capture 20% of the market. So, okay, you have a $400 million market by 2017. That's very interesting. Again, what happens to pitches that with no market? I will sit down and brainstorm markets for you. No. I will assume that the market is the entire world. Get very excited. Probably not. None of the above. So that's the final piece of the structure to me. What have you achieved so far? We have heard people talk about traction here. Traction is very important. So simple IFRS income statement and projections. IFRS part is very important. If you probably know what it is, but if you don't, you probably should revise your investment pitch. Who are your important clients? You may not have clients yet, so what are your successes? Who's in your pipeline? Who will pay for your product in the future? Who you're talking to? And then take this traction and extrapolate and turn them into projections. But please be realistic in projections. We've seen this a lot. So we made 50K in revenues this year, and next year we're going to make 124 million. It's probably not going to happen. So also be bullish, because no VC will invest in a business that grows 5% every year. So that's another fact. If you think you're going to grow 5%, you're probably you're probably not ready for VC investment, or you don't want it. So this slide I put here is for generally bad ideas. This is related to structure, this is related to succinctness, this is related to audience analysis. Writing one generic teaser and sending it to everyone, it's a bad idea. When you write a pitch, you email it to me, it looks great on screen, but believe it or not, we still print them, or we still project them. So if it looks horrible when printed, for example, if you do what I did and use animations, it's going to look horrible when printed, so don't do that. Hide things, because we'll steal your idea. That's nonsense. We won't steal your idea. Finally, don't follow up to see if there are any questions. This is another bad idea. exaggerating your business. We know the markets, we know who's active, we know your competitors, so don't exaggerate it. And talk in numbers. I get presentations, I'm sure people here do as well, that there's not a single number in it. It says we have many customers and we make many dollars. It doesn't make any sense. And finally, disregarding competition or grossly underplaying it. Basically, I get presentations that basically say the competition is just a bunch of idiots. It doesn't work. So, parting thoughts. I'm out of time, but as a bank and as VCs, we want you to grow, and we want to be there as you grow. But it's very hard to pick the winners, and the first touch point you have with us is actually this presentation. So help us, pick you among the crowd with a great presentation. Thank you. Please email me. Thank you.
Great stuff. Fantastic.